Look here. Josh Hiersche, Mino Glick, one of our favorite names in the office, Casey. Mino Glick, Natasha Forgione, and Sean Hogue, who is just a monster producer. So this is going to be good. Navigating from average to astounding. Let's hit some leaderboards, Casey. Another amazing week, guys. You have been on a tear, the best back-to-back weeks in the history of the company. And it's just going to keep on getting better from here, especially if you listen to what Casey and Spivey and everyone were saying on the last call. Be aggressive in leads, be assertive in leads, get as many as you can. Don't put yourself in a bad spot and get into too much debt. But if you have to get into just a teeny little bit to start a business, that's something to consider. I would never advise someone to go into too much debt because, as we always say, Casey, I don't know how much you're willing to work, how hard you're willing to work, what your activity levels are going to be like, right? Maybe they're going to be really good. Here's some new writers, for example, that had great activity. Jessica Croteau. Would you say Croteau? And Casey, as always, what do you think Jessica Croteau's previous occupation was before she got her insurance license?
That's a tough one.
There's obviously some French in the last name there.
French?
That's what I'm
I was
seeing.
going to go with the famous pastry shop.
I was on the, maybe that's just because when I think of France, I think of pastries and crepes and stuff, but
Yeah.
maybe she's a famous crepe maker.
All right, we'll go with that. Jessica, if you're out there, let us know what you actually used to do. And if he is correct, Casey wins.
A whole mess of crepes.
Oh, yeah, I'll buy you that. I'll buy you a whole platter of crepes. Really good. Top producers for the week. Look at this. Just crazy numbers. Jim and Jessica Rustman, Michael Schellert, and Joel Kimsey, $28,252. That's crazy. If you're not getting these results, that's okay. Not everyone is, but the good news is that you can if you have the right amount of leads and the right amount of activity and the right amount of likability and trust and the right amount of product knowledge. And then it's just a repeat. Do more, right? Do more. And I would say also, back to this, we were looking at some numbers yesterday and I loved them, Casey. 80+% of all of our sales now coming virtual. That number has consistently grown over the past year, ever since we rolled out virtual selling, and it's continuing to get more. So the point is, if you can't get enough leads where you are, you've got to learn a new trick. You've got to get into virtual selling, because I'll show you in just a little while where all the leads are. And there's a whole bunch of them. Got to be aggressive with them. Salvatore Capobianco. It's a great last name. Joe Kimsley.
Nice.
And Ashley Richard with 21 applications. Good job. Top DI writer is Jacob Peterson with $5,733. That's good, man. Top IUL producers for the week. Jim and Jessica Rustman, $22,000 for an IUL. 2 of them. And if you want to learn how to do more of that, we can help you with that. Brett Loftus, number 1, $440,000 annuity. Guy's a machine. Keep doing it. Top DFL producer for the week, Betsy Barr, $22,724. Betsy is killing it. All right, here we go. Total recruits for the week in the base was Derek Brock at number 1 with 7. Jacob Polk with 32. Ziller is killing it these days as well, along with Ian Graham, Ben Seafapour, and Scott Mank. These are licensed recruits. Griff Martin, number 1 on that march to the top contract. Derek Brock and Ryan Federico also on the board. Jacob Hogue with 14. Pritchett with 14. Brad and Kira with 9. Did I say Pritchett with 14? I meant 13. Excuse me. New writers, Dave Lappin, number 1. Sarah Reinecke, number 2. Tied with Scott Forehand on the base. Jacob Hogue with 10 new writers. So we're seeing a trend, right? Let's take a look here, shall we? Top recruits. Jacob Hogue. Top licensed recruits. Jacob Hogue. Top new writers. Jacob Hogue. Top SNAs.
Yep.
Jacob Hogue. Is there a lesson to be learned? Summer Friesen, good job. What is the lesson here? The lesson starts at the top of the funnel. Where are you putting your focus and activity? Some people make the mistake in saying, I'm only going to recruit quality. Remember we used to say that? think we even said that in I Got a Guy video, Casey.
Right.
You got to recruit a lot of people. So how are you developing your systems to allow you to find, attract, and onboard more individuals? If you're a builder, that's where you need to be spending your mental energy and your time, is developing that system. Our word of the year, Casey, was process. What is your process for finding, attracting, and onboarding new agents? Make that your focus. It will come. Look at all these SNAs. I don't think we have enough time to read through all of these numbers or all of these names.
Nice guys.
I think this looks like a record. I don't have the number right in front of me. This is amazing. Keep that going, guys.
Again, like, what was it 8 months ago that we rolled out? How long ago? It wasn't even
We were averaging
COVID.
6 to 7 a week, maybe, right? 8, 9 months ago.
Sometimes two and three a week.
Sometimes 2 or 3. Yeah, 6 or 7 was a really good week.
So
Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, somewhere between 22 and 24. So I think is what I counted.
very, very good indicator of what's to come, guys. Very good indicator.
If you're new to us out there, guys, seasoned new agents, you start with Symmetry, you produce 6 apps in 6 weeks using some leads, and the statistics show an overwhelming improvement on the likelihood that you're running a highly successful business after the first year of being in business with us. It's a big deal, guys.
It is. Well said, gang.
And you get a Yeti.
I mean, come on. Can it get any better? Spivey, you got a new Yeti over there, don't you?
Yeah.
Top key leader for the week, Joel Kimsey. Top agency owner, Jeffrey Miller. Top agency directors, Larry and Ann Griffin. Top regional agency director, Eileen Balmer. Just kicking butt, Balmer. Top managing vice president, the Cookie. Top senior vice president, Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell. Top executive vice president, Carl Miller. Did you notice that Carl Miller, Casey, I don't have the camera to get over there, but he's on our baseball picture over there from like 1930. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
We have Brian Delaney and Carl Miller on there so far. They look just like him. Unfortunately, the head coach looks like Hitler, so I don't know how to rectify that. That little mustache.
You need to just fill in that
Shave
mustache
it.
all the way, make it a goatee, maybe.
We could like get a Sharpie over there.
Yep.
Could be good. Top associate partner, Lynn Watkins, $757,000. That's huge, man. Huge week. Is Linwood, shoot me a text. Is that a record? That seems like a record. Top senior partner, Edward Pritchett. And the top managing partner, Marshall Whalen.
Hello.
I don't know if that's a record for Whalen, and I don't think Whalen is listening in because a lot of his crew is in Cabo
That's
this week, and they are having an amazing time, apparently.
Right. Well, they had a good week before they went on that trip. If you're going to go on a trip.
That's good leadership. If you're going to go on a trip, you know, how do you backload or front load the production? Well done.
Skip a beat. Yep.
Yeah. Top direct for the week, Jacob Hogue with $208,470. Top base shop, Marty Valor, $34,519. Todd, am I saying it right? For some reason, I'm nervous. He doesn't. Is it Valor or Valor? How do I said Valor? I think I'm right.
I say Valor. You say Valor.
We'll work the whole thing out.
Mhm.
All right. Champions Cup. Here are production points, submit style for the month of February. Don't forget the actual real leaderboards are a point-based system, and those points are updated on once a month, and they are updated right now on HQ if you want to go check it out. So far for the month in first place to get all them points is Jim and Jessica Russman with $29,000. Our top direct point grabber so far for this month of February, Christopher Cook, $131,891. Our top corporate producer is Louay Alreb, 20,334 points.
Nice.
I know. I struggled with it, Brian. I see you laughing. I'm sorry. How would you pronounce that? I want to hear.
Oh no.
I want to hear Brian pronounce the top 3 names here.
Listen. Can I say no?
You can. You can say I pass.
I'm gonna pass today. I was just with you in the trench, bro. I was with you. I
I'm
wasn't
with you.
laughing at you. I was laughing with you.
Thank you.
All
James Latia is the one I know how to pronounce. Spivey, let's see what you got for number 3.
Pass.
All right, last chance. Casey Watkins.
Alawada Milelo on a Friday.
Alawada Milola
I
on a
I mean,
5.
I would go with
That was
on a fade,
impressive.
but I'm a literal guy, so like on a fade.
That was impressive, Brandon. You just redeemed yourself on that first name grab.
You?
Alawada
No,
Milelo.
Jamin. So I'm cheating on Jamin. I can't really compete with that. I'm gonna go with Lua. Lue.
Lue. Like that.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. Upcoming events Thursday, doing business with Columbus Life. That's going to be a good one. That's at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Monday, hosted by the Puckett Agency. Spivey, can I hear your best Puckett, please? That's going to be on Valentine's Day, too. Can't imagine a better Valentine's Day than with the Pucketts. It's going to be awesome. And then DFLIVIN with Mr. Mike Resma on February the 15th. Still some love going to be left over for that one. Mr. Brian Williamson.
Yes. Yeah, you can.
Something really cool for you, buddy.
Yeah. I just want to remind you can go to the next slide on this one. We do have some new cohorts launching the week of March 14th. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this right now as I'm talking about it. If you were not here last week and missed it, we've got 3 of these 10-week challenge cohorts launching the week of March 14th. And guys, the qualitative results are outstanding. The informal quantitative results from this are outstanding. And we've got our business intelligence department right now working on doing some digging in just so we can quantify the ROI for coaching that we're doing. So really exciting cohort here. If you are, again, have written at least 6 apps to the team leader, this is specifically targeted for you to truly actually work on what is that activity roadmap that you need to hit your bullseye, get that daily mind ritual going, which you can't underestimate. And Justin does such a great job with that. Accountability, repeatable results, starting the conversation on referrals to new clients and recruits, and just starting the conversation on systems to automate, scale, and multiply your time. So 3 of these 10-week challenges. He just texted me a few minutes ago also to let me know we also have some Sales 101 cohorts starting. And that's if you are smack dab brand new and you want some external support to make a little investment. It's very reasonable. I think it's $135 for the whole 6-week experience, maybe even less than that. You can look on the website, same website. And so if that's something that is really interesting to you to really get some extra practice in, get some expert kind of coaching from an industry guy who's an expert sales coach, highly recommend you going to that website down there and experiencing one of our cohorts. So again, positioning these for making sure that you have what you need to learn when you need to learn it. And we want to make sure we do that with our coaching as well. We're being really precise and intentional about the kinds of things we offer for the levels of leadership. So great options here for you if you're interested.
Excellent. Oh, sorry. There we
Good
go.
stuff.
Good stuff, B-dubs. Casey, this is what you were speaking of earlier.
Yep. That's right.
So all of you out there that we've said this several times, they say that you have to say something 7 times, or maybe even that you have to hear something 7 times to actually hear it. Okay. If you are a virtual sales guru, or if you are just a virtual sales agent, not even quite a guru, working towards your guruism, you need to be looking at all of these states to get more leads. The key to growth in personal production is 2 things, and 2 things only: resources and activity. Now, this assumes that you're following the system, that you can sell, that you can connect well, that people trust you, they like you, all those things, which are very important. But 2 of the things that are the most, all these things are in your control. I guess I should just say 2 things that you can control very quickly. Go get a license in the state of Indiana. You don't have to live there. You don't have to go there. hop online, get your license. If you're in an area where you're not getting enough leads, just know that you can get leads in Indiana, California, Michigan, Kentucky, Missouri, Louisiana. You just have to have a license there. Generally, it's very affordable. Could be as little as, I don't know, $50 maybe. Could be as high as $300. Okay, but you're going to make it back in a sale. So if you want to see more people, you have to right now make more connections. For some of you, that's dialing. For others, it's connecting virtually. For some of you, it's going door to door. However you do that, you got to make more connections. You have to have more people to see, right? So if you're a manager, we want you for the next 45 days to be more aggressive with A-leads than you've ever been. I don't want you thinking about your PPL. I don't want any fear holding you back. I want you to be more aggressive than you've ever been. Get more leads in more hands. If some of you are $5,000 a week producers and it takes you 10 A-leads or 15 A-leads a week to do that, try for the next 45 days to double your lead flow and see if that will double your production. You'll be surprised that it will only double. Many times, Casey, it will triple, okay, because of the activity that you're putting in. So go get licenses in these states. Call or email the lead department and say, I want the most rural counties in Indiana. I want to work those, and watch what happens. No one else is working these counties, guys. There is not going to be much crossover there, if any. Okay. Be as aggressive as you've ever been. Be more aggressive than you've ever been, and watch what happens. Anything to add to that, Casey Watkins?
Yeah, I mean, we said it a lot on the last call, but I just think it's a shame that anyone would ever kind of not make it with us because they never really invested enough. I believe that most people, if they really need to, can figure out how to go out and scrap together $1,000 or $2,000 to start a business that has the upside that this business has. So I think it's a shame if anyone ever kind of doesn't make it here that had not tried to see what $2,000 a month feels like in lead investment, like $500 a week. I just think that there's so many agents with us that are investing $300 a week that need to be investing $500 a week, because that investing $500 a week versus $300 is the difference between you escalating up to an agency owner and beyond very quickly, or not being able to, and kind of being in no man's land where you're just making enough as a personal producer to pay your bills, have a little bit of extra. We want you to have enough extra to be able to capitalize on what this company is going to go through the next couple of years. So everyone needs to be hitting the ATM. This is the beautiful part about this business. It's very low risk. Like if you can figure out how to make money on $200 to $300 a week in leads, you're going to love $500 a week in leads. Brandon, when you and I were really needing to be, to be growing the company when we started, we were $500 to $700 a week in lead investment. And that's when things started to become quote unquote easy for us. That's when was like, man, I'm just falling into $5,000 a week, no matter what. And some weeks are coming in at 7, 8, 10 grand a week. So
We knew that we were leaving fruit on those trees, because we were so
never
busy,
really
we
did the
couldn't-
simple math of like how would it affect our actual profit margin, and it's like now that there's virtual remote, it's like we can do this stuff a lot quicker. Like we need to be hitting the ATM more. The word of the year last year was invest. Hadn't changed. Like we got to keep doing that. We got to put that investment into a process, but if you haven't got the invest part first, we got to get that.
Yep. So let's speak to some of these questions on here, okay?
Yep.
As a producer, how do I purchase more than 28 leads per week? You just do it. You got to find where they are. You have to pick an area or counties where, state and county where there are extra leads. That's why we're kind of showing you some of these. Now keep in mind, when we're looking at these standing lead order numbers, this is potential. We haven't mailed for these. So they're not just sitting there waiting for you. So you kind of have to put in the standing lead order. I do believe when we were looking at the numbers yesterday, Todd, there was still about 100 and 150 to 200 leads left over after inventory. So you may not have the ability to do that this week. Okay. The point is, make the plan so that within 2 weeks, 3 weeks after you submit the standing lead order, you can start to get those. But if that is your goal, I would also say that you need to be working bonus leads. You need to be working a lot of them. I would try to work as many A leads as I can. If I can't, because I'm waiting for them to come in, I would try to work as many 5As, 5Bs, 4Bs as I possibly can as well. But I would have conversations with your manager for the person that asked that question and ask them that. Say, I would like to get 30 A leads a week. Where should I get those? And they may say, no problem. We can get those in XYZ state that we already have within our standing lead orders, right? Now, what they won't allow you to do is keep getting a bunch of leads if you're not selling them, because that could be an indication that you're either not working, which is not good for you, or you're selling those leads with another company, which obviously is pilferage. We don't like that. We don't take kindly. But generally, it's just a matter of creating your plan. And I love this specific plan for February and March for people to begin to think, especially as we're gearing up to March. We've got a couple of weeks left, right? Submit your standing lead orders this week and next week. Make a commitment for maybe it's March and April that you're going to get more leads than you've ever gotten before in the form of a standing lead order, right? And if you do that, it's a little bit of like backing yourself into a corner, Casey, that you and I used to be so good at, right? We knew that, to your point, if we wanted to start writing $5,000 to $7,000 a week in production, we had to put a standing lead order in for about 20 A leads a week. Okay. Not for 5,000, it would be more like 10 to 12 leads a week is what we were getting, because there's that back end that starts to come into of leads that you weren't able to get in touch with. But I would say really two things for the next 45 days, really gearing up for March so that there's an all-time high in activity there. Change your standing lead orders. Managers, be more aggressive and allow more aggressiveness in your organization. Crank up your standing lead orders. And the second part is, I would say, make a commitment to increasing your sales velocity. Okay. You're going to see a lot of things changing over the coming months and hear us talk a lot about sales velocity. Really, all that means is how quickly are you getting to the lead? These days of waiting until Friday to get all your leads and then making all your dials on Saturday and Sunday to try to book appointments for Monday and Tuesday. I'm not going to say those days are gone. What I am going to tell you is that they are leaving. That train is leaving. And that's not necessarily because we want it to. It's because the industry is evolving and we have to be a part of that evolution, or we have to create that evolution, right? So be part of that change. Order more leads and be willing to work those leads much quicker, especially if you're working digital leads, but really any leads, Casey.
Yep.
The second that lead comes in, I want you on the phone with that. If you will make that commitment for the month of March, maybe the month of April, as we're gearing up getting more leads through the rest of this month, if you'll make that 60-day commitment, I can almost guarantee you, like that? I can almost guarantee you that you're going to fall in love with the results. If you put the work in, you are going to love the results. There's no doubt. Okay. More leads, faster to dial, sales velocity. I know that talking about these changes it scares some people because they've run a business a certain way for a long time. We cannot scale digital leads to the tune of 15, 20, 30,000 a week, which we have the ability to do, unless behaviors change and people really start focusing on sales velocity. People really start getting to those leads as quickly as possible. Because if you're online looking for life insurance and you fill out a lead and someone doesn't call you, chances are you're going to get it taken care of within the next few days somewhere else, because you're out there looking, you're ready to buy. So it's your job to get on with them as quickly as possible. Anything else to add to that, Spivey, Casey, or are we burying it?
I would just say the 23rd, because there's February 23rd for the summit. There's some stuff we're going to also share that expounds on this a little bit more, but some stuff we're working on behind the scenes to help everyone with that actual process of speed to lead, quicker to get that appointment set and beyond. So but everyone does need to start changing the behavior, start changing the way we're actually approaching that. So it does come down to capacity, and if we want to be able to continue doubling and tripling our company, there are some behaviors that got to change. Well said.
Yep. Anonymous attendee said, I love it. Are we not considering PPL for promotions for short term? It's a good question. That's something that we can take to the advisory board.
Yeah.
I'm almost willing to say, you know what? Till the end of April, maybe not for the bonuses, but for promotions, we'll take it to the advisory board. I like it. What I will say is, don't be focused on what possibly could happen that's negative. Be focused on what possibly could happen and most likely will happen on the positive. That's the optimism. So in other words, I'm not looking at this saying, and I'm not getting on to whoever wrote that question, because I think it's a great question. And I do think it's something that you have to be concerned with. But I would, that's what I mean by I want you to be a little more aggressive. I don't want you focused so much on your PPL that it's holding you back. I don't want you to be focused on your PPL if you're a manager and therefore you're not allowing agents to work leads. I want you to watch them, allow them to work leads. And if they're not doing great, scale it back, work with them until they get to that point, because it's the best thing for them. But I want you to be aggressive. And I want you to think, I'm not concerned about not getting my promotion, because I know that if I put the right activity in with the right number of leads, I'm going to blow it out of the water. I'm going to have so much production, so much more production, they don't have to worry about that. We'll get back with you on that, though.
And agency owners, we talked about in the last call, but be more aggressive, set the expectation the right way, help people understand that coming to the table with a couple $1,000s to invest in leads for their first month is like, if you can figure that out, you're going to have a lot better starting position. You're going to get to success a lot quicker. Like, learn how to sell it. As we said on the last call, sometimes I think as agency owners, we start to think that our job is still not, like, it's not to sell anymore. Absolutely, it's to sell. You got to learn how to promote. You got to learn how to sell this thing. McDonald's is selling $1 million, franchises that only spit out $150,000 a year of net return. Why are we not selling? Come to the table with $2,000 to have yourself a business, like, that hits these kind of numbers. It's like we're underestimating what we have, or we're not doing it justice by not actually selling the upside like we should be,
Yeah. I love it. Any other questions, Casey? Sorry, I'm new. What is PPL? Paid premium per lead. I like that you, Lewis, I like that you don't even know what it is, so don't worry about it.
Yep.
For the next 60 days, you don't even have to know.
You may not need to think about it.
Paid premium per lead. It basically just means how much production are you getting placed per a lead. Okay. The least expensive leads are what kind of leads? I would say phone book or walking around with a business card.
Yep.
Generally, though, it would be some type of bonus lead. They work really well.
That's what we kind of said on the last call too, Brandon. It's like, again, going back to how we lead and how we onboard, how we set expectations, like being very clear that it's either going to take a decent amount of money. And when we say decent, relatively speaking, $1,500, a couple $1,000 is not that much when you're talking about embarking on a career that spits out as many people earning $100,000 plus as this industry does. So it's not, relatively speaking, that big of an investment. If you think it's a big investment, that might be the problem. If you think, people can't afford to, that might be the problem. It's like going into the home with the wrong mindset and thinking that no one can afford $100 a month. You're not going to do very well if you walk into business, if you walk into people's homes, thinking with your wallet. It's like so it's either going to take, though, a lot of, like, a couple $1,000 or a lot of time.
Yep.
And if someone says, I don't have any money and I can't get any money, I don't have credit, I don't have, I've tapped my parents out, whatever, like, well, then I'm going to set the expectation for that new person joining that. Are you ready to make, 8-10 hours a week worth of phone calls? I want to set that expectation the right way so they don't come in and make a couple hundred phone calls and think, well, that was good enough on bonus leads. not going to get anywhere like that.
Nope.
So set the right expectation.
Yeah. The expectation on how many dials will it take is however many it takes.
Exactly. You got to get,
Yeah.
you want
That's
12
what-
cents or 15 cents.
Yeah. I mean, that's what relentless amounts of activity and just that, you know, when you sell yourself out to that much activity, I'm not concerned with how many. I'm concerned with the end result. I'm tracking it so that I know how many. But if it takes me 4 days and I'm having to work older leads, then it takes me 4 days. It's not going to be like that forever. So how willing are you to kind of get out of your comfort zone so that you can change the course of your life? Right? Like that's really what the question is. Some people want it to be easy. It ain't easy, especially if you come to the table without much money or any credit. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it, but it's not going to be easy. So it takes what it takes. You just have to be willing to go out and get the results and be kind of, you know, result focused. Now, let me be clear. I'm activity focused because that's what I can control, but I'm result oriented, meaning I'm going to go until I get the result that I'm looking for. Okay. Casey, you and I had to do that so many times early on in the business, and not only early on in our business, we had to do that in 2009 and 2010 when we were getting started again with the company because we didn't have a choice, right? So if people just weren't answering the phone, well, I guess I got to call more of them, got to call at different times, got to get more leads, got to do whatever I got to do.
Right.
Quality Virtual Summit, register now, reimagine2022.com. If you haven't registered, what the heck are you waiting for? Bring your mom and them. It's going to be awesome. That's all I got, man.
Yeah. And that's a big one, guys.
Yeah.
Make sure, like, this is our conference. You know, I know we had to pivot and change our Denver conference to a virtual summit. But if you want to pack Denver out and you want to capitalize on the growth coming for this company and the momentum that we're already experiencing, last week was a record week by a lot. This week was another probably record week for a first turn.
Record. Yeah.
First turn in of a month, you know? So there's serious momentum that we're going to be experiencing over the next year or two. And especially with what's going to be rolled out at this summit, you're going to want to be on it. You're going to want to understand it. You're going to want your people to see it. You're going to want to get as many people on that virtual summit as possible. We know there's watch parties going on across the country. Jump on a watch party. For those of you hosting watch parties, want to make sure that you get everyone registered that's going to be there. Because if you got 100 people at your watch party and you're the only one registered, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing those numbers. So for tracking purposes, if you're out there and you're not registered today for the virtual summit, please register. Get your people registered. It's a free event. There's no cost to it. Just want to make sure everyone's plugged in because disruption is the word that comes to mind, Brandon, when you get to the end of the virtual summit with us, which Brandon and I just got back from filming in Knoxville. It's 3 years of work rolled out into really about a 3 to 4 hour virtual summit. So this is what we've been working on. This is what we've been investing in. It does feel in a lot of ways like the last 12 years has brought us to what you guys are going to see on the 23rd. So get ready for it. It's going to be fun.
Love it, man. I'm answering some questions in the chat. I'm kind of getting addicted to it. I should probably put it down. Like social media. That's another thing that we should get rid of. Let's just get rid of everything except for leads. We should like have like a big group focus for the month of March. And we'll figure out what all that's going to be. But you remember how we used to do
Money, Muscle, Mind?
Money, Muscle, Mind, and maybe it should be something similar to that, not with a bunch of marketing. I can hear Joe already like, this is what they do. They start talking about something on a conference call and I got 2 weeks to put it all together. No, we don't have to do anything crazy. But I do think that it might be cool if we eliminated some things from our lives and grew some things in our lives, right? What are some of the things that we want to do away with? And maybe it's as simple as I got 3 things that I need less of in my life, and I got 3 things that I need more of in my life, and I'm going to hold myself accountable for 60 days on what each of those 3 things are. It's like if you ask yourself the question, Casey, if there was, in this situation, 3 things, but just start with this. If there was one thing that I did more of or that I did better in my personal life that I knew would make a positive impact, that I knew would be life-changing, what would that thing be? We all know what that thing is, but yet we still don't do it. So that's what we mean by we got to be intentional about it, write it down, monitor it, track it. How do we do it? If there's one thing that would have the biggest impact in my business life that I could do more of or do better, what would that one thing be? So maybe that's like a good thing we could do for March and April is the 6 things, the 3 I need more of, the 3 I need less of.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
You need, I was going to say we need less social media, but I don't know if that means that we have to do a TikTok.
I know that's a tricky one. Probably so.
Meredith, no. I will say this, my algorithm is so honed in on TikTok right now that I'm getting great recipes, great leadership advice.
I'm
Great,
honest.
This is what addiction sounds like,
comedians.
guys. You know it's too much, and then you're gonna then justify why you shouldn't take it out of your life.
Yeah, Brandon.
Sorry, I'm listening today. And I
Yeah.
have the power of this panel to open myself up. I'm bailing. I'm
Who gave
unveiling.
who gave her a panel spot today?
I've been trying to tell him, Meredith.
Don't you dare.
I'm gonna
Send me-
unveil
send me
Sarah Watkins
TikTok.
in a minute if you don't watch me, Casey.
You send me
I'll
4
go get her.
TikToks a day. And they're
Good
all
one,
good.
though.
There's positive TikToks, right? There's
Yeah,
positivity.
I'm not good at sending.
There
you
are
terrible.
positive TikToks.
Hey,
Just
my
like-
algorithm
Just
is
like
honed
you
in.
start the news with good evening. I mean, there are some positive things, but I mean, what are you working through to get to the good?
Josh Hiersche, would you please unveil and unmute? I need you to weigh in on this.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm not a huge TikTok person, but
It's all right.
I'm in agreement that making changes to 3 good changes and get rid of 3 bad things. I'm a big fan of that.
Let's do it.
I
That's the
like
way
this
it's not
idea.
ruffle any feathers, Josh. Well
I
said.
really, he's a
Well done.
sales guy. Danielle's like, I got 3 things for you. So, all right, we're going to keep thinking about this. If anybody has any other great ideas, throw it in the Q&A on, I don't know if we need to name the program. Do we need marketing around it? Maybe it helps. I know it helps. I'm trying to save Joe. But anyway, Josh and Danielle, let's get on to the task at hand here, guys. First off, tell everybody who you guys are and who you direct to, where you come from, how long you've been here, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so Josh and Danielle Hiersche, Director Carl Miller, part of the Ryan Miller, Rob Puckett, Marshall Whalen organization. We live in Dallas, Texas, and we're at the 115, making our run to 120 now. And,
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, heck yeah. We're excited.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, we're blessed to be here and grateful that you guys have asked us to be on the call today.
And
Danielle?
we're grateful for you to be here. How about you, Danielle?
I love this stuff. I love hanging out with you guys. We've been able to get our kids together at some of the different trips that Symmetry has sent us on. And, this is our first national call with some people on our team. We've been guests under Carl before, but as us hosting it is our first. So we're very honored to be here and thank you for having us.
That's really excited. So how do you guys know Carl? How did he find you? What was your previous, was there a previous life that kind of brought you guys back together or did he just find you from a recruiting ad or something?
No, so actually we go back a little ways, not too far. Me and him actually worked together at the building company, like the company that does the home remodeling and all that. So we're one of those characters.
Yep.
Josh actually was doing marketing for the club that we worked at. We were married or we were engaged actually at the time. Carl did come to our wedding. So it's just kind of neat. And then we actually went and did our own thing when that club shut down and he came here and he reached out to Josh and we're going to hear a little bit more about that in a few minutes.
That's good. How long ago was that, Josh?
October 2015, right before we had our daughter.
Okay.
So
Wow. That's really cool. All right. So I've got a question for you before we get into you introducing all your special guests. Go back to October of 2015 and think about that first 6 months. Okay. What was the hardest part of you getting started? What was the biggest thing that you guys maybe had to overcome? If it was mentally, if it was, understanding the products, if it was, holding yourself accountable to activity, what were some of those things, or what was the number one or two things?
Well, I got super excited because Carl took me to a local event down in Houston, and it was Carl, and I think Ryan was there, and I want to say Rob Puckett and Marshall were there. And so I had that energy, right? And then I came back, and then kind of like what we're going to talk about today, but I was just super excited about it. And I didn't realize, like, I had really never done any of this before. Like, I had never set up appointments over the phone. I had never been into somebody's home.
Yeah.
And I just remember like going in the first home, and I was like, I forgot everything I was supposed to say. And I was just like calling and texting Ryan and Carl. I'm like, hey, what do I do? They're like, that's where the social security number goes, where the date of birth goes.
Yep.
So, but yeah, just getting out there and doing it and feeling comfortable, because I just had never done it, right? We had never been in this kind of sales environment or market or consulting environment, I guess you could call it, right?
Yeah. How about for you, Danielle?
So we worked very hard at our old careers. I was a director of marketing, putting in 65 plus hours a week. And so when we had the freedom of time, I took advantage of that a little too much. And we had a brand newborn as well, our first child. So, weekends and family activities and holidays, we went to them all the first year. And so, we were used to making 6 figures each, and, we barely knocked on that 6-figure income our first year because of our freedom of time.
Yep.
So that was my hardest.
That's why we always say that the difference between being self-employed and unemployed is like razor thin, And if you're just a producer, sometimes it feels like it starts over, or it can start over every single week. The two things that you guys said, I think, are so common. Matter of fact, I saw, Josh, someone in the comments earlier say, I'm brand new to this. I have never actually done sales, but I have been in an industry where I am taking care of people, or I'm caring for people. I can't remember the exact words. And there was this kind of fear of rejection or fear of moving forward. And she said, I think it was a female, said, what, do you have any books or anything I can listen to? And we threw 2 books out there. I think one was The Happiness Advantage. The other was Go for No. But I think your initial reaction, which was fear, you didn't let it paralyze you. You felt it, you acknowledged it, and you moved forward, and you were willing to be uncomfortable, knowing that failure was probably more likely than less initially, right? And I think that's really hard for people, right? Like, because you have to lean into this discomfort of, what if I'm told no? What if I look like an idiot? What if my client asks me a question and I have no idea what the answer is? And you probably had all these thoughts and a whole lot more. And then you get there and you realize this is really just about connection, And if I don't know the answer to a question, then I call my upline, and I learn the answer to the question, and it doesn't come up again. It doesn't mean that I'm not trying to be prepared. It just means that I can't be prepared for everything. Okay. I think it's great advice for people that are brand new, especially that have never done sales or never done insurance or never, sold anything, right? Like, you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be scared to death. A lot of that's ego. A lot of that's normal. Lean into it. And as long as you have character and integrity, you can't mess up. Meaning, if I ask you a question, Josh, you don't know the answer, you just say, that's a good question. Let me look into that for you. You don't make up some BS. Tell them what they think they want to hear. And Danielle, yours is the same way. It's the same thing that so many people come from a career where they were, either going into an office, or they were paid a salary, or they were paid hourly or whatever. And they had this boss, and they had this structure, and they had this time where I had to show up, and this time where I wasn't working. And that's a lot to kind of struggle with also, right? So I think those two things are great for people to understand that everybody goes through that. They're normal. And now here you guys are about 6 years later, and you're pushing for the top contract. You got some people probably coming up behind you that are going to be pushing to make you guys equity partners as well. So I'm excited for what you guys are going to talk about today, and grateful that you're here with us. Who you got? Who you got with us?
Yeah, so we brought on, obviously Danielle's with me, but we also brought on our agency owner and good friend, Mino Glick is here.
Yep.
Sean Hogue unfortunately had a family emergency, and we're praying for his family. So
All right. Hear that.
don't get into details, but if you guys could do that, that'd be great. Everybody on the call, appreciate it. And then also top producer and soon to be probably a lead producer, I would say, and Natasha Forgione. So super excited.
Nice. Well, we, like I said, extremely grateful for you guys. Glad that you pushed through the discomfort phases. And now you're probably getting close to that 10,000 hour rule where you're almost experts at it. We can always keep getting better, but you guys are on the right track, man. And really appreciate you. Menno, Natasha, it's good to see you guys as well. I'll mute Vale.
Yep.
And, be here if you need us.
Take it away, guys.
Hey, Brennan, Casey, thank you guys
Thank
once
y'all.
again. Appreciate y'all having us on. Very grateful. I'm excited to be on here today. Thank you guys. So yeah, my name is Josh Hiersche. I mentioned earlier, I'm Director Carl Miller, part of the Ryan Miller, Marshall Whalen hierarchy. Super excited to be here. We wanted to jump on a topic, and the topic is average to astounding, right? And the thing is, we wanted to go off this. We learned about this called the 5 stages of change, and it kind of goes off. Meredith and Brandon, I know you guys were talking earlier, but we do have a book. It's a 12-week year that we base it off of. And the neat thing is in Symmetry or anywhere else in our life, we can use these 5 stages of change. I know when I came in here, I felt like I was average. I felt like I had work ethic, but I was average in my results. I was average in what I was getting out of all my work ethic. And, we stumbled upon this book and kind of the stages, and it really, truly helped everything in my life. It helped me organize it. It helped me figure out what I was going through and what I needed to do, what process I needed to look at mentally to be able to get to the next level. So I'm super excited. I'm going to quickly go through the 5 stages if you guys want to write them down. And then I'm going to pass it around the horn so we can discuss this a little bit. So the first stage is going to be uninformed optimism. And I love this stage. This is that, blood pumping energy, right? Like, when I went down to Houston, I found out about this opportunity. I came back and Danielle was like, "You're electric," and I was like, "I'm going to do this. I'm excited," right? Because it was brand new and it was fresh. And, I just saw the value in what I could do, but I hadn't seen the cost yet of what it was going to take to get there, right? So it's a really optimistic stage. It's a really happy stage. And it's not just in business. I've done this in, people might do it when you go to the gym, right? Like, man, I want 6-pack abs. But then you realize, like, you're going to have to work out more than 7 times to get that, right? Or I want to lose 50 pounds. You're going to have to go on a diet for maybe more than a week, right? Or change your eating habits for more than a week to get there. So that's stage number 1. Number 2 is the informed pessimism. And, the thing about this stage is you start to learn what you need to do to get to your goal, right? Like all of a sudden, I realize I need to be in the gym maybe for 3 or 4 months before I start to see results, or I need to eat better or walk more for a certain amount of time to lose the weight I need to lose, or I have to make more than 20 dials to get my 12 appointments, right? I might have to make 400 or 500 dials. I'm going to have to recruit more than 5 people to get to agency owner, right? So we start to learn what we need to do to get to our results. And sometimes we can get negative thoughts around it, right? Like, man, this is going to be kind of more work than I thought. It's not going to be a give me. Is it going to be worth it? Yes, I still remember that because I saw that in the beginning, but now I know, and do I want to put in the work? The next stage is the valley of despair. And this is the very middle. If you imagine like this, like a slope, this is the very bottom of the slope. This is the scariest stage that there is. This is when people quit new things that they change, right? I wanted 6-pack abs, but I don't want to go to the gym every day for 4 months. You start thinking that your old way was okay. Like, eating donuts and whatever at nighttime is okay. It's not going to be that. I'm not going to die from it, right? That old job I had, working 9 to 5 in the warehouse, it wasn't that bad, right? Maybe so we start to justify the old lifestyle, the old us and thinking it's okay, and we might give up because we haven't seen any of the fruits or enough of the fruits to make that change. Number 4 is the informed optimism. And this is a great stage. This stage right here reminds me of Symmetry, right? Like you go, you're not doing what you need to do. You're not getting the results you want to get. So what do? We reach out to people that have already done it, and we find out how to get there. We go back on to Quility a couple hundred times and go through everything, right? Maybe we'll record our how we're doing things, right? Our practice sessions, right, on Zoom. We're getting the tools to get better results, and we're starting to be optimistic again. And then the final stage is success and fulfillment. And this is when all of the things that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, last couple hours, whatever it may be, we're starting to see the results. We're starting to bear the fruit. And all the work that we put in is worthwhile at this point. And the greatest thing about this stage is we start to learn that the actions that were once difficult and uncomfortable are now simple, easy, and routine, right? So it's just natural. It's part of the process, and it helps us get there. So anyways, guys, I'm super excited. Take some notes. The first guest that I wanted to bring on is Mino Glick. Are you out there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here, Josh. How are you?
Man, I'm doing excellent. Super excited to have you on today. And guys, just so you know, Menno's been a good friend of mine in the business for about 3 years now. He's been very successful long before Symmetry. I mean, he's done 2 or 3 other things that he was successful in. He's a true leader in the industry, a true leader on our team. He's an agency owner with Symmetry. Last year, they wrote a little over $1.5 million in annual premium, and they helped over 1,400 families. And not only is he agency owner, he's on the verge of agency director and maybe even regional agency director. So, man, I am super blessed and excited to have you on the call, man. And what you got for us today?
Yeah, well, super excited to be here. Super grateful for you and you and Danielle, Josh. Just that connection that we've made about 3.5 years ago. Actually, April 17th, tax day of 2018 was the day I officially came to Symmetry, and we started our relationship. And just amazing what can happen when you're committed to creating results and committed to the end goal. It's funny because as you were going through the 5 stages of emotional behaviors that need to change in order to get a different result, so many people, they start with the uninformed optimism and they want to skip right to the success and fulfillment. And I love, Brandon, that you started the call out with optimism, because it's really what the call is all about. But again, I'm Menno Glick, direct to Josh and Danielle Hiersche, and the Carl Miller, Ryan Miller, Rob Puckett, Marshall Whalen Agency. Super grateful to be here. Guys, super grateful for the opportunity. Brandon, Casey, I don't see Brian on here, but the 3 of you, super grateful for the opportunity that you've created. And I want to talk a little bit about just the uninformed optimism. I'm one of 10 children, so come from a small family in central Pennsylvania, was actually born and raised Amish, grew up on a dairy farm. So at a very young age, at the age of 5, I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning, going out and helping my dad milk cows. So by the time I reached 35, I told people, look, I already worked my 30 years. I'm ready to retire. And but we all know that's not fair. So but I want to talk a little bit about that, because one of 10 children and the youngest of 6 boys. So I was always the one that got picked on, always the one that wasn't highly expected to succeed, because my brothers, they went out and they got life experience and they reported back to me. But I was always the kid that I was always accused of having my head in the clouds. Always a dreamer, never got good grades, just all I did was had my head in the clouds. And I was always in that optimistic state. So when I grew up, turned 16, the obvious thing was to get in construction. That's just what you did when you grew up Amish. And so I got in construction. At the age of 19, I decided to start my own company. Went out and started a roofing and siding company and became successful rather quick, almost too quick, if there's such a thing, which I think there is. There wasn't a lot of struggle involved. The economy was great. It was back in 2004. If you all remember those days, it was amazing. Anybody could get in business and be successful. And what happened was, a few years into the business, I was doing so well. I was actually nominated as the youngest, most successful entrepreneur in my home county. And I was asked to go in and speak to the graduating class of a high school, a Mennonite high school, about entrepreneurship and business ownership. So I did that, and talk about an inflated ego. Unbelievable. I don't know how I could fit through most doors because my ego was that big. And as they say, pride always comes before the fall. And this was in 2006. Fast forward 2 years. I just bought my parents a house in 2006. And fast forward 2 years, 2008, the economic meltdown happened. The housing market collapsed. I just happened to have a business working in the housing market. And when that collapsed, you guys, I was brought to my knees. I almost lost everything. I lost the house I bought for my parents to live in because my dad's health was declining. And I bought them that house so he didn't have to go out and work anymore, so he could take care of his health. And to see all that get ripped away. The same newspaper that had my greatest accomplishments listed in now held the sheriff's seal of my greatest failure, losing a home. And I was humiliated. Luckily for me though, someone loved me enough. One of my co-business partners, he ran a business as well. And he was mentoring with this gentleman that got him started reading books. And he said, personal development is the only thing that takes businesses from good to great. And so I started reading books because he asked me, if you could increase your income by $60,000 a year just to read a book a month, would you do it? And I said, are you crazy? I'll do anything for more money. And so I started reading for all the wrong reasons, but it started impacting me for all the right reasons. And it started preparing me for everything I was going to be faced with moving into the valley of despair. And so again, I had this optimistic vision of who I was going to be, how wealthy I was going to be, what life was going to look like. And then the informed pessimism started to happen as I was going into the spiral during 2008. Into the valley of despair. Thankfully, I was still able to recover the company and still had some great successful years after that. But kind of my image or whatever you want to call it was skewed at that point. I knew that business wasn't going to create the success long term that I wanted because I knew there was going to be another economic downturn, or I was afraid it might. And so one day a gentleman came to me and he wanted me to take out a life insurance policy. I thought, well, that's a good idea. I own a business. If something happens to me, we need to figure out what would happen with the business at that point. And so I did. And I just remember him leaving my office thinking, I need to get in the insurance industry. Because everything I knew about it, from Zig Ziglar, Frank Becker, all the greats that I've read their books and heard their stories. And both of those gentlemen were, most of their career was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, within an hour from where I lived. And I go, that's my next thing. I'm going to get rid of the construction company and I'm going to get started in insurance. And I'm probably one of the only people that ever dreamed of getting an insurance because it's usually one of those things you lose all your options and you settle for insurance. I actually aspired to become an insurance professional. And so in 2013, I sold my company and started in insurance. So January 2014, fresh start, fresh industry, everything. And again, the uninformed optimism was what helped me set my goals. I was so confident I was going to succeed in such a big way in the insurance industry that when I sold my construction company, I left all the money in for 3 years and signed a 3-year non-compete. So I didn't take the check. And I said I wouldn't go back into the construction industry for 3 years. The best decision I ever made in my lifetime. Because plan B was insurance. Plan A was insurance. Plan C, D, E, F, G, H, all the alphabets was insurance. That's the only plan I had. And I had to make it work. And so I just remember getting started with that practice company, and things were just terrible because my goal was to build an incredible organization. And so I was never the best producer. I was consistent to a degree, but I knew I could assemble a team of people and create a dynasty. And so through that, it was tremendous investment on a monthly basis just to build my agency there. The system wasn't as clean as what we find here. And that's why I'm so grateful for the culture and the system that's been created here, guys. That is what creates the success, is the culture and the system, and then your own activity behind it. And so when I got started there, it took I'm talking $5,000–6,000 a month investment to build an agency there. And at the end of the year, at the end of 2014, I found myself in a financial position that was unbelievable. Ended up losing my car. Repo man showed up to pick up my car. And so again, I'm going through the valley of despair, just repeating the cycle all over again. But I knew how the story ends. I knew it's just a moment in time. And the story is going to be there for the glory long term. And so I just kept grinding through. At 2 o'clock that morning, my car got repossessed. It was on a Monday morning. I get in the office at 10 o'clock, my direct deposit hit. And the biggest direct deposit I've ever had in the industry up to that point, $7,300 direct deposit in my bank account. And I just remember saying, take my car. I don't care. I got my business. And from that, I kept building. And then fast forward, obviously, to 2018, was doing well there, just didn't have any time. And I remember in March of 2018, just gone through a desperate time. I know most people come here broken. And I was definitely broken when I came here. I wasn't broke. That was the one thing I was grateful for. But it was at a point where my marriage was done. You know, who I became was unrecognizable. My wife didn't even recognize who I was. I didn't recognize her anymore. And so in March, I said, you know what, we need a vacation. So we took 10 days, went to Orlando, just hung out with the kids, and I fell in love with my family again. The 16-hour days, 6 days a week, 8 hours on Sunday, no time. And we just drifted apart. And so I came back from that vacation and we were a couple hours from the house. I looked at my wife and I said, I can't go back. I'm done. I can't go back. And so I went in and I started looking, and that's when I came across your ad. And I applied, and the rest is history. You know, it's just been amazing. But there's just those moments in time where, you know, I have a quote that I want to share with everybody, and it's, pain makes you stronger. The tears make you braver. Heartbreak makes you wiser. So thank your past for a better future. And guys, there's so much in that, because so many people want to run from the failure. And I'm here to tell you, the greatest tragedy in life is not failure. The greatest tragedy in life is playing it safe. Safety has never been a part of my DNA. I've never been the type to play the game safe. And I printed this off. I forget where I found it. It's been years ago that I had, and I printed it off. It's, life's journey is not to arrive at the grave safely in a well-preserved body, but rather to skid in sideways, totally worn out, shouting, "Yeehaw, what a ride," and just move off into the sunset, guys. You don't want to get there safely. We got to die to get out of this life. So trying to get there safely is ludicrous if we're all going to die to get out of here. So don't worry about trying to get there safely. Just skid in sideways, totally shredded and tattered, and live your best life ever. So with that, Josh, back to you.
Hey, thank you, Menno. Just golly, man. So good, man. Well, want to bring up my better half and an incredible partner, not only in life, but in business. And I know you do. They call you Mama Bear for a reason, because you're there for the team. You bring the heart. A lot of people in our business depend on you and are thankful for you. So I'm grateful to have you on and joining us today. And I know you have a special guest with you, but I want to kind of give the floor to you, babe.
Thank you. And Menno, thank you. And yeehaw, right? I love that. As Josh mentioned early, our team read the 12-week year. So I saw in the chat, some of you are asking what book it is. It's called the 12-week year. And it really has taught us a lot. A quote from there that I absolutely love, and it's from the chapter of the emotional cycle of change, is once you reach the success and fulfillment stage, the rest of the pain is virtually gone, because all the things that made you uncomfortable are now just part of your routine. And we all know that with anything we've done in repetition or for a period of time, that is so true. And in my life, both personally and professionally, it is very true. Josh shared about when he went to Houston with Carl for this opportunity to just do a corporate overview and see it. And I'm telling y'all, when he came back, the energy about him was something I didn't see since we were dating. There was just a light and an aura, if you will. I saw it in him, but I didn't quite feel it myself yet for Symmetry. He went and renewed his license so quick and just jumped right in, started going. And I remember I was 9 months pregnant and about to go on maternity leave. And I remember saying to him, you have 12 weeks to make this work until I go back. So after my leave, I did go back to the demanding career, the 60 plus hours of work. That was in late January of 2016. And just a few short weeks later, in February, Josh and Carl were planning their trip to Raleigh, North Carolina. And I remember, me saying, yeah, you guys, that's great. Go have fun. And that was not what they were planning. They insisted that I had to go, that I needed to go with them. What I couldn't understand is why I had to go. I had every excuse not to go. We had a 4-month-old baby. She was nursing. I went back to work. I had no vacation time earned yet. Our hospital bills were stacking up. Raleigh was across the country and we had no one to take care or help with the baby. But again, Josh's fire, it was there. And he actually spoke to my mom and she heard the passion. And she told him that she would fly down and take care of the baby and that I needed to go with my husband. So we bit the bullet. We flew to the Raleigh, North Carolina. And every week, I thank God for that decision, because it is there where I caught the spark. I now had that first stage, the uninformed optimism, right? So much, some people think that this is absolutely crazy, and it might have been, and me and Josh discussed me going full time with him, but during the little lunch break, the second day of conference, I actually called my boss and gave my 2-week notice right there on the spot. And it was the best decision we ever made. However, when we got back and reality started setting in, there was a lot of ups and downs, as we mentioned early in this call, right? My freedom, I took advantage of it. Just not really knowing the business, learning how to pivot. There were a lot of roller coasters in 2016 for us. Learning the new trade, being new parents, it really was difficult. Josh's mom, one of the best women that I knew, she fell extremely ill late that fall and she passed away. That was our valley of despair. That was our down point, our pivotal moment. Were we going to retract and go back to our old ways and give up and quit? Or were we going to move forward now that we were informed of what we needed to do? And we made a choice after that. We decided that we knew what it took to win here, and we were no longer going to remain average. We decided to look forward and go into the informed, optimistic stage. And we went all in. We spoke to our mentors. We created a plan. And in 2017, we doubled our production, personal production from 2016. We made it to the final four in the March Radness contest. We qualified for our first carrier trip, and we started building a team in our family's legacy. We created the right habits to go from average to astounding. And as he mentioned, we're knocking on that door. We've seen the success and fulfillment. When we hit lows now, they don't feel so low. We climb out of the pit a lot quicker. And a big part of that is because of the relationships we've made here. The people we found along the way, our mentors, our team, it's incredible. The team's become our family. It's become our why. The lady that I'm bringing on, Natasha, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. We all have a story, and her story is truly why we do what we do here as a company. Before I let her share, I want to share a little bit about this woman. She is not only a partner and a friend, but she has become like the sister that I never had. We share everything together. We've been through so much these past few years. She is a fighter. She's always pushing to be greater than she is. She's the most straight shooter you'll ever encounter. She tells it as she sees it. Natasha is loved by anyone who knows her. Her heart is as big as Texas. Her influence on our team and the whole Miller Master is just amazing. The skills that she has at dialing and connecting with the people instantly is quite a sight to see. It's amazing. She has the best overall issue rate in our entire organization with 230,000 in issued business in 2021. It was her first full year full time. She is a top producer in Symmetry, knocking on the door of elite producer and now building a team to share her strengths. Natasha, thank you for being here. Please start off by just sharing your story and how you found Symmetry.
Danielle, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Number one, I love you so much. There's not even words to say what you mean to me. My name is Natasha Forgione. I am direct to Josh and Danielle Hiersche on the Carl Miller, Ryan Miller, Rob Puckett, Marshall Whalen team, and very proud to be so. Very grateful to Symmetry, like beyond belief, you guys. I feel like I've told, to be real, I've told my story a few times. So anybody who's heard it, I apologize, but it is why we do what we do. So you guys, in 2018 on New Year's Day, I actually was gone from my house 20 minutes. I went to go pick up my daughter at a friend's house, and my husband, Jim, was watching TV. When I came back, he was dead on the bathroom floor and had had a heart attack. And when I tell you, you guys, I was unprepared. I was totally blindsided. I was completely unprepared. He went to the gym that morning and worked out for 2 hours, lifting weights and doing cardio, and that didn't kill him, but he was in the bathroom washing his hands and dropped dead. So it's the single biggest turning point of my life. It really was. And, I have a 17-year-old daughter. We had 2 horses, big fancy house, the whole shebang. Jim was the one making all the money. I worked for the school district with special needs kids at the time, making $12 an hour, by the way. So when he died, I literally made every mistake in the world because I was not thinking clearly at all. I literally had $568 in my bank account. That was it. I didn't even know what to do. And I remember sitting at my kitchen table and looking at the bills and thinking, what what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? I was picturing my daughter and I ending up in a homeless shelter, or, you know, I don't have any family really. I have one kind of crazy sister in New York, and that's it. So I'm like, what am I going to do? And all I kept hearing, there was a couple things. One of them was 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other. And the other thing that was like my mantra was, I'm going to turn this into something good. I'm going to turn this into something good. I repeated it in my brain over and over again. It's all over Facebook. I'm going to turn this into something good. The level of fear that I had was like nothing I have ever experienced. There was some life insurance, by the way. I had no idea where it was. No idea. I was ripping the house apart, trying to find the life insurance. I didn't think it was much. I didn't even know, which some of us see in the business is not uncommon, that people have no idea what we have. And so I literally started having panic attacks. I would run up and down my driveway. I don't take any kind of medication. I've never had anxiety or depression or anything, but I was like, you know, I had to go back to my school job because I had to make something, and my hands would shake so much that like people would notice it. I was like a complete mess. You know, I told Danielle before, I haven't told many people this, but I literally, I had a GoFundMe page. So that was helping a little bit. And I was, there was a church down the street that stood and gave out food one day a week. And I'm like, you know, I come from a lot of money, to be honest with you. And I'm like, okay, I don't care. This is like survival. So I stood in line at the church with these people, and I'm like, what is going to happen? You know, I went to the food pantry, and this isn't that long ago, by the way. It's crazy to me. It's not that long ago. But that drive of I'm going to turn it into something good. You know, all my jobs in my life have been about helping people always. And so I posted my resume on Career Builder. And you want to know, the first call I got was from somebody at Symmetry, and a complete miracle. Because I was like, well, maybe I'll get a salary. Maybe I can make this and go back into, like, I didn't even know what I was going to do. And so when this person called me and they said, well, we sell mortgage protection insurance. To be honest with you, when I heard sell insurance, I was like, oh God, no. I'm like, I don't want to sell insurance. Like, I had the typical vision in my mind of like a stuffy, pushy, old school insurance guy. And I'm like, look, man, that's not me. Like, I'm just real. Like, I'm operating from the heart. I am not interested. And then this person says, well, let me tell you what we do. If somebody passes away, we give people money towards paying off the mortgage. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, wait, say that again. Say that to me again. He said, we give people money towards paying off the mortgage. And to be honest with you, when Jim died, if I would have had 6 months, 9 months, a year of mortgage payments, which I believe we call equity protection or critical period, that would have given me enough money, because we had $100,000 of equity in the house. For me, even that would have been all that I needed, but I didn't have that. And so when this person said that, it was like God, the universe, whatever, like smacked me in the back of the head. I was like, okay, so you sell mortgage protection insurance. What does that mean? So I'm like, I don't know who you are. I'm going to check you out, but I'm like all in. And because it just felt, I could feel it in me. I could feel it in my heart. And I knew it was a sign. And, you know, to be honest with you, I needed something like a new beginning. I needed something to hold on to. I needed like a new life. Like, what was my life going to be? Life as I knew it was totally done. It was over. And so I needed something like, okay, this is like a tangible thing. It wasn't even only about the money. It was about my entire identity, really. And so I dove in. You know, I went to conference unlicensed, and I was like, well, I took one look around the room. All you got to see is a Reggie video and see a couple other things. And I'm like, oh yeah, these are not stuffy insurance dudes. Like, I'm in like a hippie chick. I'm in the right place, people. This is like fine. And so I knew that that was where I should be. And, you know, I'm going to be straight with you. I did not have an easy start. I know some people come in here and they nail it from the beginning. So I was like, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. You know, I'm so grateful to Josh and Danielle, and Carl has been like, you know, somebody I can lean on all the time. So I was like, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And I was driving 3 and 4 hours. So I would run appointments Sunday and Monday. I would drive into northern Wisconsin on Sunday morning, come home Sunday night, drive back the next day in blizzards. You know, literally driving to Indiana. I'm like, okay, whatever I have to do, I got to do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. And so, you know, you get a no-show when you drive to Wisconsin. That is not fun. I mean, like at all, after when you're driving there for 4 hours, but I just knew that it's what I needed to do. And the bottom line is I was willing to put in the work. I trusted it. I really did. And I'm like, whatever I got to do. And, you know, I started turning the corner after a while, and I started believing more. And, you know, the thing for me, everybody on our team knows I'm a very emotional person. I'm literally all heart. I'm very emotional. And it's something I've had to really work on. So for me, you know, that valley of despair, man, in the beginning, it'd be a week, because the fear of, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Was so big in me that, you know, there's a couple major things I had to learn to do to get out of it. Now it's a lot shorter. I think, you know, I'll be honest with you, I had a little bit of a rough week this week, where it was a little bit of a roller coaster ride, as I know we have sometimes. And, you know, I went right back to what do I need to do? And there's really 3 main things that I do. Number one, I reach out for help. You know, I call Danielle, I call my mentor, and I'm like, okay, I literally text her, like, I need your help. I wrote an application last night at 9:30 at night, which is because I refused to give up. Number one, I just refused to give up. And, you know, so that's the main thing. You can't lone wolf it in this business. You have to rely on people. You got to be a part of this. You really do. So that's the number one thing I do. Also, you know, I have an incredible best friend in the business that I met here, who is also like a sister to me. A running buddy is an unbelievable thing. Shauna Berrigan, I love you so much. You know, we work together where, you know, we pull each other forward and up when we need it. And that's crucial. The other thing is the activity. It will not fail you. The activity will not fail you. So it's the bottom line is, you know, I'm not going to be a person that says, I love dialing and I can't wait to get on the phone. But the bottom line is, once I do get on the phone, I get in my rhythm. And the beautiful thing about it is I forget all about myself, because I'm totally focused on the other people. Like, it's about, what can I do to help? What can I do to help these people? And, you know, anybody who doesn't think that this is an important thing, or it's just about selling insurance, this is a mission, man. This is a higher purpose. When somebody calls you and they say, you know, your first death claim, and like, I'm there, man. I'm at your house. I'm helping you. You know, that is so powerful. And what we do is so unbelievably important. So the activity, the bottom line is reaching out to the people. You know, we get on Zoom together, we dial together, we're a community. The activities, you're not going to get anything without the activity. You got to put in the work. And the third thing really is the resources. I can't help anybody if I don't have leads. And I loved at the beginning of the call about the leads. People, do not be cheap. Buy the leads, for God's sake. You know, I remember my first week, somebody, you know, the person who brought me in said, well, remember, I told you, you got to spend $250 to $300 a week on leads. And I was like, oh my God, this is like, you know, thank God I did. I was dialing 300 and 400 dials and just like dial. And, you know, that still stands true today. I cannot help anybody if I don't have the lead to call the people that need me. And do they always know they need me? No, but I'm happy to share my story with them and let them know they really do need me. So unbelievably grateful to be here, you guys. So this is not like anything I've ever seen. It's really not. So really honored to be on the call. Love all of you. And by the way, if I can ever help anybody, I'm happy to give out my number to anybody and help any of you at any time. And I really, really mean that, because that's what it's all about. So thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Natasha. You know, it's funny you said that. A lot of people, you know, are going to be texting us for your number now. So just so you know, you're probably not going to be able to run appointments next week, because you're going to be you're going to be life coaching everyone. So
all righty then.
Thank you all for everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We just really hope that everyone on the call could relate or understand. I hope somebody spoke to you that talked today. We really appreciate the time and just sharing this with you. And we just wish you all the best luck on your journey here.
And fantastic job. Thank you so much to you, Josh and Danielle and Natasha and Mino, man. Such vulnerability, such truth, such relatable stories. Man, Natasha, you talk about a fire in the belly. Loved it. It's getting chills over here. So I appreciate you guys and what you pour in and what you mean to so many people across this company and where you're going and the intentionality of which you do protect your clients, and just forever grateful for that. So tremendous call. Thank you guys so much. Everybody have a wonderful week, especially you, Mama Bear. Love that. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Todd, thanks.
everyone.
Appreciate it, guys.
Bye.